The Super Nintendo Entertainment System was no stranger to shooters, with a plethora of planes, spaceships, and even Twin Bees. However, there were also a couple of on-foot shooters where the player controlled land-based characters. Most of these originated in Japan, and fewer made it west due to how heavily steeped in Japanese mythology they were. Of these, today I would like to look at Pocky and Rocky, created and published by Natsume in 1992 in Japan, and 1993 in Western countries for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The game promises an adventure across a land steeped in ancient Japanese mythology, populated by various mythical yokai and yurei. For the purposes of this review, I played the game in couch co-op mode on easy difficulty, because trust me, any higher than that and the game is near impossible. As the story goes, we play as a Shinto shrine maiden called Pocky and her Tanuki companion Rocky, not to be mistaken with the boxer. Oh. The two set out on an adventure to rescue Rocky's friends, the Nopino Goblins, or yokai, who are now misbehaving under the influence of a mysterious being who is furnished in a black mantle. In Japan, the game was called奇々怪界, which roughly translates as strange occurrence, rather than an attempt by the Scissor Sisters to popularize the act of gossip amongst friends. The two aren't completely helpless, however, contrary to the fact that one is a maiden, and the other is a creature with two very large, heavy testicles. Pocky uses a haraigushi, a wooden staff adorned with folded paper, for close-range combat, and ofuda, a paper talisman, as a long-range weapon. Rocky, on the other hand, is pure nature in orientation, swishing his tail for close range and throwing leaves for long range. Our two heroes both have a slide that they can use to evade an enemy's attack. If one collides with the other in this fashion, it sends the victim spiraling around the screen, damaging enemies as well as removing some of the health of the character that was unfortunate enough to have been slid into. Unfortunately, if your co-op partner does this to you, you have no way to opt out, and are locked into the animation as well as the loss of health. Speaking of, if the other player gets a game over, they can come back using your lives, which I didn't feel was very fair, as again, you don't have any agency or control over this decision. Our characters both also have a bomb attack. Rocky cheers as leaves spiral out from him, damaging everything on the screen, whereas Pocky's is more focused, using an explosive force of energy that concentrates around her, shooting off in the 4 cardinal directions. Bombs are limited, so should not be used liberally. Finally, each hero has a charge attack. Pocky's makes her spin around, swinging her haraigushi, and Rocky's changes him into a statue, like Mario's Tanuki suit, that makes him impervious to enemy attacks whilst he is in this form. Equipped with an arsenal of abilities, the two should be able to tackle anything that Black Mantle throws at them. The game is played in stages, each bearing a different theme, and sometimes gimmicks that come in the form of either the yokai you encounter, mid-bosses that attempt to block your path, or even the environment itself. All up, there are 6 stages that Pocky and Rocky must make their way through. We start at Pocky's Shinto shrine laden with spirits of unrest and mysterious flying pumpkins, ending in a battle with a bean-throwing giant. The second level takes the team through an enchanted forest where cheeky monkeys descend from the canopy, women with extremely long necks thrust their heads out from within small pagodas, and a trip down the river sees Kappa desperately trying to drown our heroes in a watery grave. The third level takes our protagonist to a haunted graveyard replete with Western-themed horror motifs such as zombies, bats, and a lich at the end of a canyon that pummels our heroes with the very rock surfaces that it's made of. The fourth level follows our companions up a mountain path laden with angry thunderclouds, wind spirits, and an airship that throws all punches to stop the maiden and her furry friend from boarding. The fifth level takes place in the Forbidden Castle, where our friends battle even more yokai as others sit confined within cells. Our heroes make their way through a booby-trapped filled corridor of rolling spiked balls and fire-shooting demon heads to confront a vampire who has promised both Pocky and Rocky for his experimental specimens. Finally, the final, much shorter level takes place in the upper corridors of the castle, where our heroes make a dash for a room where the figure wearing the black mantle awaits them. Here, they have a massive showdown with the hooded figure. Upon its defeat, all the yokai return to normal and everyone lives happily ever after. Of the 6 levels, I found that the second was my favourite, solely for the Kappa boss fight, When I lived in Japan, I resided in Saga Prefecture, where copper motifs feature prominently amidst the canals that crisscross the city and the rice paddies. This level in particular reminds me of my second home. During the levels, you may come across power-ups with a variety of effects. If you pick up consecutive blue orbs, you gain the ability to make a wide shot, and subsequent blue orbs power that up. Red orbs, on the other hand, power up your single stream, dealing more damage with each consecutive red orb you collect. It's important to note though that red and blue orbs cancel each other out, so don't be greedy. You'll also lose this power if you die. If you're lucky, you may also find a red talisman that creates a magic shield to protect you from some of the enemy attacks for a short period of time. Additionally, food items will restore health, and sometimes you can find extra bombs as well. Finally, very rarely, it is possible to find a shisa, which can be rode around to damage the enemies. I found that overall the game was enjoyable in the initial levels, but became more of a chore in the later stages as the enemies just keep getting thrown at you, so there isn't any opportunity to just stop and take a breather. It's very similar to The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, or Goemon, in that regard, if you've played that. We had originally started our playthrough on normal difficulty, but the enemies were wrecking us, so we had to drop down to easy in order to even stand a chance. It's worth noting though that the difference in difficulty is minimal, with the easy difficulty only giving you more health and lives. The enemies still hit just as hard and appear just as frequently, so the game doesn't really have any accessibility options. If you're not good at the game, you basically must get good, or you don't stand a chance. I didn't like this. Now I wanted to take a quick moment to appreciate some of the various yokai and yurei, ghosts, that you encounter throughout the levels, as I feel that the historical significance is lost on a Western audience, especially at the time that this game first came out. First of all, the lady with the long neck that comes out of the pagoda is a yokai called Rokurokubi, a woman cursed to be that way because of a misdeed committed against her by a man. Typical. Usually, these women tended to be prostitutes. Again, typical. Their necks would elongate when they were asleep and roam freely, and sometimes their heads would detach from their bodies. This curse only affects women. Triple typical. Go figure. The umbrellas that you find stomping around Pocky's shrine are called karakasakozo. They are typically Asian-styled paper umbrellas with one large eye, a long protruding tongue, and one or two legs from which they hop around causing mischief. They aren't typically dangerous unless you are Pocky and Rocky, so best to keep your distance. Kappa are the green amphibian-like creatures encountered toward the end of the second level. In the game, they can jump on your raft and try to drag you into the water unless you struggle free. This is very close to their origin, where they would catch and drag unwitting humans to their death in deep water. If they are feeling peckish, they will try to devour a human, anus first, to get the shirikodama, which is said to be a ball of flesh located within the rectum. The final thing I wanted to point out was the ghost-like creatures that feature in the cutscenes, who fly at you at the beginning of the level, and are behind bars in the 5th level, all wearing a paper triangle crown. One opinion is that this is called a tenkan, heaven's crown. It is said that ghosts wear these as it signifies their ascendance to heaven. Another popular theory is that the point of the triangle pointing to the heavens is said to be a deterrent for evil spirits, manifesting and resurrecting the corpse of the spirit that is wearing the crown. Either way, that's all for today's talk on Japanese ghosts and spirits. Let's return to the review. I thought the pixel art was lovely, with the nice detail in the various enemies and even Pocky and Rocky themselves. The background of each of the 6 stages were well crafted and detailed, lending weight to the various situations. In the second level, at the beginning of the forest, whilst there are trees in the background, there are also some that exist in the foreground that you can walk behind, which adds an element of depth and makes it appear as though you are a spirit, watching from the canopy. At Pocky's shrine, when the storm appears, lushing the sacred grounds with rain, leaves tremble against the wind, and haunted sights. Each stage has something different to offer visually, which I enjoyed a lot. The music was composed by Hiroyuki Iwatsuki, who is probably most well known today for composing for Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, a game I have yet to get to, but I do intend to, I promise. Historically, he typically composed for Japanese action or shooter games. In Pocky and Rocky, I really enjoyed the Stage 1 track, played within Pocky's shrine. It has a distinct Asian flavour to it, which marries with the numerous yokai that you see roaming about the place. Pocky and Rocky is a fun little game if you are looking for something to play with a friend. If you are naive about the mythology of Japan, it's a nice place to start and get a taste for what some of their ghosts and spirits look like, if you're not adverse to dying over and over. My partner isn't a big gamer, so it really tested our patience to cooperate and get to the end of the game together. With the variety of levels and the cuteness of Rocky, despite the difficulty and lack of accessibility options, I would still recommend this game today. So check it out if you get the chance, and see what a Kiki is really all about. By the way, are there any classic run and gun shooters that you like from the heyday? Let me know in the comments. This has been Venwa with a review of Pocky and Rocky for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more Japanese cultural game videos. As always, thanks for watching. Look after yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care, and bye bye for now.